Do you know what I would do to my worst enemy? I would put a goal into his mind, give him then a wrong plan to get to this goal, and then tell him, yeah, just stay consistent with it, and eventually you will get there. And throughout the way there, he gets injured because the plan was wrong, and throughout the way there, he never actually makes progress. This is exactly what you are doing. Because some random guy on social media told you, yeah, as long as you stay consistent with, I don't know, the planche, the front lever, the handstand, whatever skill you want, you will eventually get there. Guys, this is the biggest trap in this space. Just staying consistent. The thing that didn't bring you the ideal results that you wanted, the approach that you were following the past 3 months, will not give you any results within the next 3 months. Consistency is not the thing that will get you to your goals. And of course you'll lose motivation. Of course you'll lose your passion, the love for the sport, because you cannot give and give and give and put in all the energy and receive nothing back. This is like you would send to a girl every single day for a month flowers and she doesn't even say thank you. Obviously, you wouldn't send her any flowers anymore because you're not a retard. When you give something, obviously you expect it to give you something back. But when you're training calisthenics, why should that be different? When you want to improve in calisthenics, it's not about consistency. It is about a clear system, and this is then the part when you can combine it with consistency, okay? But only when you have a clear path, a clear approach, a clear system, then you can combine it with consistency. Consistency alone will never get you to your goals. And now let me tell you a very interesting thing. Most coaches out there, most elite athletes out there are telling you about a system where you just push enough volume, progressive overload, do combinations in your training, and you make some progress, and you're happy for a while, but then you're getting injured. It is a fact, you will get injured. Because the approach that everyone is preaching, and I'm talking about everyone, even like the elite athletes, is to just push enough volume to reach the next progression. And this approach obviously works, because as long as you have enough volume, as long as there's enough adaptation, you will adapt, you will make progress. The problem here is that you will get injured. Elite athletes, coaches never tell you anything about conditionings, never tell you anything about injury prevention, about how you can train around injuries and not through them. That's why, and I want you to realize that, that's why all of these elite athletes are always injured. Did you notice this? Everyone is always injured. And we somehow normalize that. It's somehow not normal that when you train calisthenics, you're getting injured. Do you really want to train the sport for a few years just so that you can end up being a 25-year-old who has the body of a 40-year-old, who cannot play with his children in the future, who always has problems with his shoulders, with his biceps, with his wrists, always? You want calisthenics to give you something and not take something away from you. Let's compare this now to gymnastics, because gymnastics is the sport, if you want to hear it or not, but it is the sport that is the closest to calisthenics. Gymnastic athletes train the full planche as well, but they are never getting injured. What is the difference? Gymnastic athletes never get injured because they are training and conditioning their body since a very young age. They are training 5 to 6 hours per day for years since they are 7 or 8 years old. And in these 5-6 hours where they're training, obviously, they're not only training volume or the specific skills, they're conditioning their body most of the time. They're doing biceps curls, they're doing Zanetti flies, they're doing very specific conditioning work in order to condition their body to come up with all the pressure that gets built up on their wrists, on their tendons, on their joints, etc. when they're then approaching the full planche. We calisthenics athletes, you know what we're doing. We see the full planche as the ultimate goal. We want to get it within a few months, skipping all the conditionings. Obviously, of course you'll get injured. It wouldn't make any sense if you would not get injured. Why do you think these gymnastic athletes are conditioning their body for years before they even think about the full planche? And then we have elite athletes here who are giving you tips and telling you about their approach without letting you know that they're right now having 5 different injuries, that they teared their bicep like 2 times. And they have the genetic of gods, okay? They have like the ultimate genetic. You cannot compare yourself with people like this. You can't. So what should you do? You have to follow a system that allows you to progress fast without risking any injuries. This is why my clients make progress within 2 months, where they go from 1 second dead planche hold to 10 seconds full planche hold without getting injured. If they wouldn't follow the system I'm creating for them, Beyond Perfect, if you haven't heard about Beyond Perfect, you have to watch, it's a must for you, the video about the system after this video. Otherwise, you will never understand how you can progress fast and safe at the same time. Every other approach only promises you to progress fast, but we want to progress fast and injury-free. This is our number one priority. If you get injured while progressing fast, you're losing your genetical potential. The more injuries you get, the less skills you'll be able to achieve throughout your whole journey. This is a fact. So that's why in the system I'm using with all of my clients that I used for myself to make progress fast by staying injury-free is focused on conditioning work, on deload work, and obviously on volume work. Most of these side hustle coaches or elite athletes who were literally genetically born into the sport only tell you about the volume work. Only about, yeah, do progressive overload, do a lot of combinations, but this is not all about it. I've trained with these elite athletes. I've talked with these elite athletes that you're seeing always on Instagram. I was in Bulgaria in the legendary gym. I talked with all of them. I was at the competitions, was talking with them. And every time when I asked them how they handle injuries, you know what they said? It was always the same two answers. Either, oh yeah, I'm just genetically made for this, I never get injured. This was one of the two answers. Or, oh, I trained since 10 years, I'm always injured, but I somehow made it through the whole process. They're non-stop injured. These are the two approaches, the two answers that I always get. Either, oh yeah, I'm just genetically made for the sport, I never get injured. Or, yeah, I just fought through all the injuries. I'm still injured, I don't care. Are these the people we're listening to? Like, honestly, of course they're super strong. Of course we see them somehow as our role models, somehow as like inspiration, because what they're doing is just crazy. But we can't listen to them when it comes to progressing, because they know how they were progressing with their genetics, with their weird approaches where they're just going through the injuries. But we want to have a sustainable time training calisthenics. We don't want to push from one injury through the next injury. That's not what we want. So that's why I built the system that allowed me and all of my clients who made this crazy, in your eyes, maybe transformation, which is normal in my coaching, where you go from a tuck planche to a full planche, where you go from 1 second dead planche hold to 10 seconds full planche hold within not even 2 months of training without getting injured. You can follow any approach where you just focus on volume. If you do it properly with good plan adjustments, always good feedback, you can get there, okay? But you cannot get there without getting injured, without the Beyond Perfect system, okay? Because on Beyond Perfect, the system, the method we're using in the coaching, we're focusing on conditionings, on proper conditionings and proper deload weeks. So if you are following an approach right now that is making you progress super fast with the sacrifice of getting injured, or you're following an approach that makes you stay injury free but your progress is super slow, then fuck your current approach. I will link you a video here, I don't know where it is, probably here, that will allow you to implement the Beyond Perfect system. It will be super interesting for you. If you're smart, or if you've already watched the Beyond Perfect system and you couldn't really figure out how to apply the system to your own, then you can apply on the first link down below to work one-on-one with me. The Beyond Perfect coaching is the only coaching in the whole space that allows you to progress fast, break your plateaus within a week, and stay injury-free.